It's 7 o'clock, time for our regularly scheduled council meeting. And Mike, would you call the roll, please?
Collier Wise.
Here.
Erickson. Holland. Here. Humphrey. Here. Mines.
Here.
Price. Sorensen.
Here.
Ward. Here. Mayor Powell.
Here. Would everyone please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Item 3 is minutes. We have minutes of January 16th special session and January 16th regular session.
Move approval.
Motion is second to approve both sets of minutes. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Adoption of the agenda. John or Mike, do you know of any corrections, additions to our agenda?
Move approval.
Motion is second to approve the agenda as presented. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Visitors to be heard. Addressing the council. Persons addressing the council shall use the microphone at the podium. Please raise your hand to be recognized, go to the podium, and state your name and address. For items that are not on the agenda, members of the public may speak under visitors to be heard on any topic not on the agenda. Remarks are limited to 5 minutes and no decision will be made at this time. For regular agenda items, public testimony will be taken at the beginning of each agenda item after the subject has been announced by the mayor and explained by staff. Any citizen who wishes may speak one time for 5 minutes on each agenda item. Public testimony will then be closed and the topic will be given to the governing body for possible action. At this point, only city council members and staff may discuss the current agenda item unless a council member moves to allow another person to speak and there's unanimous consent from the council. Questions from council members, however, may be directed to the staff or a member of the public through the presiding officer at any time. At this time, is there anyone in the audience that has anything that they wish to discuss that is not on the agenda? Seeing none, anyone on council have anything they wish to discuss that's not on the agenda? Well, seeing none, we'll move on. Visitors to be heard, we have none. I'm sorry, we just did that. We have no public hearings is what I meant to say. So we'll move to old business, and we have second reading of 2017 Supplemental Budget Ordinance 1351. And Mike, please.
This would be second reading of the Supplemental Appropriation Ordinance for 2017. This was done to reflect the change in our health insurance costs. At the time the budget was being prepared, we were looking at nearly 100% increase in health insurance costs for 17. In November, this issue was resolved without any increase in health insurance costs for 2017. The items that were removed from the 2017 budget were reviewed with the City Council at presentation on December 19th, at which time the consensus of the council was to go ahead and include these items in a supplemental budget for 2017. So in the packet is a supplemental budget which adjusted the health insurance for every line item, replaced some funding that was reduced for the library, paramedics for the ambulance department, some repairs to City Hall, increase in street department maintenance budget. Parks and Rec and Forestry had some line items that were restored to them that were reduced. The BBB sales tax was also amended for the banners that were going to be installed last year that got delayed, and also the second penny was revised for the ICAP for the community center consultant for $3,000 and some fire department bunker gear that wasn't received till after the first of the year. There's been no change in the appropriation ordinance since first reading, and would recommend second reading, noting that a roll call vote is required.
Thank you, Mike. Is there anyone in the audience that wishes to question anything or comment on this? Seeing none, turn to the council. Tom, please.
Thank you. On the COLA, is that, just for clarification, was the 2.25% left out when that first budget scare happened, so now it's restored.
Correct.
Okay, and then these other things are restored, but was there any consideration of restoring it a little higher than that?
That's what they did. I should let you speak, but it's what we did for all our employees.
I mean, higher than 2.25.
That's what we did for all of our employees.
Okay,
That was what the unions negotiated.
All right.
So we do that then for all the employees.
thanks for clarifying.
Certainly. Other comments or questions? A motion is second to approve the second reading of ordinance number 1351-2017 supplemental appropriations. And Don, if you'd set the machinery for us, please. As you can see, the vote is 7 yes and 0 no, so that is approved. Thank you. Moving on to new business, item A is a Mid-American Energy Annual Report, and who will be presenting that for us? Please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm Mark Hogworth. I'm the engineering supervisor for Mid-American's West Region for the gas. I'm out of Sioux Falls. Along with me today, I've got Craig Van Matron. He's our new economic development manager. I don't know how many of you folks knew Brad Howard or worked with him over the past. He was in charge of a lot of our economic development, working with local communities as the GOED comes forward with proposals and stuff like that as the main point of contact. So Craig came along today just so we can introduce him to you all here today, and yeah, to let you know if the things that used to run through Brad, if those of you who've worked with him before, they'll go through Craig moving forward. So pretty much focus on the same things we do every year, go through some gas cost items, staffing issues, and what we did for leaks and new construction over the past year. Mid-American, as you know, we serve gas, natural gas and electric in South Dakota, Iowa, Illinois, and Nebraska. We got approximately 733,000 customers across there. About 90,000 of those are in South Dakota, and of that, last I checked, about 3,745 within the city limits of Vermillion. So for this winter season, we're probably, if you folks have looked at your gas bills, you're probably seeing they're a little higher than they were last year at this time. It's for a couple main reasons, primarily because last year they were lower than normal. It's actually back to normal. Last year, as everyone recalls, was fairly warm, and as a result, the reserves were fairly high, so you had kind of a twofold thing going on. Low price gas because there was a lack of a need for gas, so people aren't using as much gas, and what it is a little bit cheaper. So this year it's going to be probably a little closer to the prices we saw in 2015, which is fairly normal. The folks at the beginning of the heating season were looking at being normal or slightly colder than normal, but as we all know, the weather is what the weather is, and it'll vary based on that. But at the beginning of the year, gas futures prices were almost 40% over last year, but as when I looked at our current commodity prices for January, they were pretty parallel to what they were in 2015. So anyway, if you hear folks and constituents talking, boy, our gas bills are up a little bit this year, well, it is up over last year, but it's pretty well in line with past historical trends. Staffing items, as we talked about Craig, there's in the utility industry, always the concern on retirements, but we still have a two-man crew that works here out of Vermillion. We have 2 servicemen that are stationed locally here that are home start for responding to leaks, and then they work very closely with our Yankton group, where we have a two-man crew out of there to do the construction type work and have 2 home start servicemen to respond to leaks. We do have an apprentice in a position there where they can do both types of work in Yankton to try and help and make sure that we've got plenty of coverage to do whatever needs to be done. And we do have a measurement and control technician here in Vermillion. They handle the more technical aspects of large meter sets and regulator stations when things go wrong. Over the last year, in 2016, we had a total of 112 leaks in Vermillion. We want to respond to any time a customer calls in within 60 minutes. And last year, we had 3 leaks go over 60 minutes, but our average response time was 22.79 minutes, so pretty stable over the years. In 2016 construction activity, we had 28 new services installed. 23 of them were new residential, 4 commercial, and 1 was a replacement. We also retired 10 services for various reasons, such as building demolitions and just customer requests. And we installed 2,375 feet of new gas main in the city. Last thing we just have to touch on is we continue to have our energy efficiency programs that have gone on over the past, where if somebody buys a new higher efficiency furnace, if it qualifies, if their old one wasn't as efficient, that's still an available program. If you look on our website or direct folks to our website, if they ask to see that information, we still provide rebates for programmable thermostats or high efficiency furnaces. As they get installed, that's one of the things that comes as a line item on the bill through the PUC approved for our energy efficiency stuff, and so there's a finite amount of money that's there, so it's a first come, first served basis for anyone who wants to apply for some of those rebate programs. So anyway, that's all I really had prepared, unless the council has anything else.
Council, anyone? Tom?
Thank you. I'm curious to know about the 22.79 minutes, give or take. The crew that works in Vermillion, you say, works with Yankton sometimes.
Yes.
But how often is it that they're more than 22.7 miles away?
Miles away. Well, that's a good question.
So they respond immediately, or do they have to wrap up what they're doing, or are they usually in Yankton or Beersford or someplace?
Yeah, so the crews, or the area that's served out of the Yankton and Vermillion service centers, goes all the way up to Canton and down to Elk Point, and from Yankton over to the state line. We have two groups of folks. We have servicemen and crews. And so the servicemen are what we call the first responder. They're the person who shows up on site, tries to make the site safe. If somebody's in the house.
After the firefighters.
After the fire, exactly. Your firefighters are your first responders when you get into a dire emergency. But if somebody calls in that they say, I smell gas, he's the person who goes out there and investigates it. And he's the one who has to be there within 60 minutes as far as what we look for. And so they're the ones who respond in 22 minutes. If when he gets there, it's something that's underground and we need to dig and excavate, that's when the crew comes. And so they will be a little more geographically dispersed than the servicemen are, but that's one of the reasons we have our servicemen being home start, is they start right out from the day, they pull up on their little computer what orders they have, and they go straight to those spots. And we try to keep them fairly geographically spread out to be able to respond fairly quickly. And so the 2 servicemen that are in Yankton, we try to keep them on Yankton orders, and the 2 servicemen in Vermillion on Vermillion orders, and the one that handles the Beersford Canton area on orders over there, and then they'll try to send the person who's closest to the emergency.
Thank you.
Yep.
Other questions from the council?
So over 100 leaks sounds like a lot, but is that fairly average?
That's pretty par for the course. It's actually a little lower than what's been. And some of the times, so these leaks, they vary from what they are. And so I don't have the exact figures as to how many are customer call-ins. Probably a majority of them are customer calls that they smell gas. And so if I remember right, maybe say 40 or so of them were on customers' equipment inside the house that something was leaking, and so our employee would go and turn something off. Some of them aren't even leaks. Somebody could be smelling some sewer gas, they go investigate, and they find there's nothing wrong. And that's still included in that call, because it's a leak until we determine that it's not a leak, and even after we determine it's not a leak, there's a class of leak that's not leak. So anyway. Yep.
Do you have any lines that go for power generation in your territory?
You mean that serve generating facilities? We do, not in South Dakota per se. We do have a natural gas line that goes to the Port Neal plant in Sioux City, but it isn't the primary source of fuel there. That's a coal-fired plant there, and so we don't have any in the immediate vicinity, I guess, natural gas-fired power plants that are using natural gas as their primary heating source.
Do you anticipate more of that?
Well, that's a real good question. Kind of depends on how regulation goes. You know, it's been pushing pretty hard anti-coal, you know, for quite some time. So they're, you know, Mid-Americans has invested very heavily in wind over the past years, and along with wind is, you know, it's non-dispatchable. So one of the things that a lot of times has to come along with it is some simple cycle natural gas turbine generation to help balance that wind, because it can ramp up and down slower than coal. So make a long story short, I don't know, but it's a good possibility.
Any other comments or questions? Well, thank you very much for coming to see us, and thanks for coming down. Item B has a library staffing level adjustment request, and Dan, please.
Good evening, everyone. Dan Berniston, Library Director. Thank you kindly for the time on your agenda tonight and the opportunity to present the Library Board's budget adjustment request. The request presented to you tonight is a summarized version of what you heard back on the noon meeting on November 21st. And so since the 2017 budget process, which took place in the summer of 2016, there were a number of staffing changes at the public library, along with some increases to the minimum wage, which affects our work-study students. The net result of the staffing changes during the course of 2016 resulted in a reduction in personnel costs. The proposal in front of you tonight is designed to make some updates as a result of the retirement of the 2 long-term staff members, increases to the minimum wage that went into effect January 2017, and changes to the library's staff schedule aimed at providing better services to the library's patrons and community members. The main part of these changes is the addition of the equivalent of a 1/4 full-time position, equating to 10 hours a week of additional staff time. Due to the recent staffing changes, these adjustments can actually be made at no cost during the 2017 year. And even with the addition of these 10 hours a week, it's per week to the library's personnel budget, the overall change is anticipated to come in at about $4,000 less in 2017. The estimated net difference between the library's current staffing level and the proposed level comes to about the equivalent of $8,800 a year, and this will continue to be offset in the immediate future by the savings obtained as the result of the 2 recent retirements. It will be some time before the library could potentially be in the same position, at least as longevity of staff members would go. And just to summarize real quick, in keeping up with today's technology-centered society, the library's seen considerable growth in the variety, quantity, and the quality of the services and programs the library offers. and the number of people using those services. This has resulted in an increased demand on library staff time, not only to provide prompt and high-quality services, but also to plan and prepare for and execute those programs that are going on at the library. In conjunction with this, the growth in the number of services and the technology the library offers requires additional staff time, both to stay current on these services, maintain the equipment we have, such as the computers, scanners, copiers, fax machines, and so forth, and to assist and educate patrons in using those services that we do offer. The other thing we've seen a lot of demand for from community users and patrons of the library is an increase for the after-school programs the library offers. They allow the library to either build upon the activities that are currently going on in school or to fill in some of the gaps that the school doesn't currently have time to fit into their schedules and due to limited resources, especially in the area of STEM and art programming. And finally, with the addition of these 10 extra hours, and in response to feedback from community members, the library would have the opportunity to consider offering extended service hours. This would include potentially opening at 8 a.m. in the morning instead of the current 10 a.m. time, and also to consider opening all year round on Sundays from 1 to 5. Traditionally, we've closed from Memorial Day to Labor Day during the summer hours, and we'd like to try extending those hours throughout the year. So the library board request your consideration of this opportunity to increase the number of hours the library is open to community members and to sustain and enhance the services the library provides. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan. It's a public meeting. Anyone in the audience wish to comment on this? Council members? Library representative?
I just want to commend Dan for the work that he's doing on really trying to create a new way for the library to exist in our community and to be able to offer a lot of different and innovative programs that we haven't been able to do before. I think for an extra 10 hours, the fact that we're going to hopefully be seeing a lot more service hours for our community at no extra cost, and in fact a little bit less cost is pretty exciting. And so thanks, Dan, for all of your work on this.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Okay, Council?
I move approval of the request.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve the library staffing level adjustment request. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Okay, thank you very much, Dan.
Thank you.
Item C, purchase of electric pad mount switch. And Shane, please.
Thank you.
Switches.
For several years, the city's elected to purchase off of other governmental bids on our pad mount switches. The city of Sioux Falls received bids on switches that meet the city of Vermillion specs. The bid was awarded to Stuart C. Irby Company of Eagan, Minnesota. Irby Company was contacted and is willing to sell Vermillion 2 switches at the Sioux Falls bid price. Sioux Falls bid price was awarded at $15,695 per switch, which would make a total cost of the 2 switches at $31,390, which has been budgeted for by the electrical department. The administration recommends purchasing the 2 pad mount switches off of City of Sioux Falls' bid that was awarded to Stuart Irby Company for a total of $31,390. Attached is a resolution authorizing this purchase.
Thank you, Shane. Comments or questions?
I just have a quick question. How does that compare with, going out and getting our own bids? And
it saves quite a bit of time.
It must be a good deal.
It saves us quite a bit of time in doing so and coming up with the specifications and stuff. So the last time, we don't buy these every year, so they're kind of sporadic. The last time we bought this exact switch was in 2014. The price in that time is almost the same as what it was in 2014. So
Thank you.
Other comments or questions? Motion and a second to approve the purchase of 2 electric pad mount switches. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Shane. Item D, CCOG Cooperative Agreement Revision. John, please.
Thank you. Excuse me, CCOG, which stands for Southeastern Council of Governments. Right now, the organizing entities are the City of Vermillion, Brandon, and Sioux Falls, as well as the 6 counties here in southeastern South Dakota. Last year, Harrisburg completed the special census, which by state standards made them a first-class city as they had a population that was exceeding 5,000. As I mentioned, historically, the first-class cities have been organizing members of the Council of Governments as well as the counties. Since Harrisburg has reached that status, attached is a resolution to amend the joint cooperative agreement that the first-class cities in the 6 counties signed so that Harrisburg can be part of the joint cooperative agreement. To keep the board at 21 members, there's different groups that are represented there, private individuals, legislators, and representatives from each one of those joint cooperative organizing members. The proposal would be to reduce the number of state legislators from 2 to 1 to keep it at an odd number, 21, as well as the same size. The CCOG board did recommend an approval of this, and all the 3 cities, as well as the 6 counties, are being asked to amend the agreement as it exists today to provide for Harrisburg.
Thank you, John. Comments or questions for John? Does it reduce the cost per unit?
No. Harrisburg was already a member. They just weren't a joint cooperative agreement member.
Council? Motion and second to approve the CCOG Cooperative Agreement Revision. All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries. Thank you. Item E, a resolution authorizing the purchase of a utility tractor for the street department. And Jose, please.
Thank you. As part of the 2017 equipment replacement schedule, 1995 Street Department Ford 6640 SL tractor was scheduled for replacement. Administration would like to take advantage of an attractive NJPA bid that was awarded to John Deere. The total bid for a 2017 John Deere 6135E cab tractor meeting our specifications based on that bid awarded through the NJPA is $74,781.51. Fred Hart Company of Yankton has said that they will honor the NJPA price. The 2017 Equipment Replacement Fund includes a budget of roughly $131,000 for the purchase of the tractor and mower deck for that tractor. Purchasing the tractor will cost, roughly speaking, $56,000 less than expected. The money saved from the sale will be used to purchase the next bid item on the agenda, the mower deck. The existing tractor will be purchased by Joint Powers for $8,000 for use at the Vermillion landfill. Joint Powers will need to pay for the tractor as they are not part of the equipment replacement fund. With all that being said, administration recommends approving the resolution to purchase a 2017 John Deere 6135E cab tractor for $74,781.51 from Fred Hart Company in Yankton.
Couldn't get him to drop that 51 cents.
Nope, pretty strict on that.
Council, any comments or questions?
Go ahead, Rick.
Good.
Maybe I misread something. I thought you changed your mind and you're going to use it for a trade-in.
I'm sorry?
I thought you changed your mind and you were going to use it for a trade-in instead of using it.
No, that's a different. Yeah, that's some more.
Move approval.
Motion and second to approve the resolution authorizing the purchase of a utility tractor for the street department. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Carries. Item F, resolution authorizing the purchase of a mower deck for the street department. Again, Jose, please.
Again, this goes hand in hand, I guess, with the previous item on the agenda. This would be the mower deck for the tractor that you guys just allowed the staff to purchase. Essentially, the mower deck is the piece of equipment that's utilized to mow some of the roadside green areas through town, especially along Cherry Street and so forth. The mower deck is attached to the tractor, and as it turns out, the mower deck for the existing 1995 Ford cannot be placed on the new tractor that we would be purchasing. They're actually attached to the frame and so forth, so we can't reuse that piece of equipment between tractors, especially after so long between the model years and the manufacturer of the tractor. State Statute 518A 2219 allows municipalities to purchase equipment equipment that costs less than $50,000 without bidding. Staff did contact a couple of more deck manufacturers in the area and received quotes from 2 of them. The low quote was from Diamond Mowers from Sioux Falls with a quote of $20,301. The other quote was from Tiger Corporation, again of Sioux Falls, for $22,536.75. After the purchase of the tractor, as I mentioned before, the budget will have roughly $56,000 remaining. A portion of this money will be used to purchase a mower deck. After both of the tractor and the mower deck are purchased, the fund will still have, roughly speaking, $36,000 left over surplus in the equipment replacement fund. With all that being said, administration recommends approving the resolution to purchase a mower deck from Diamond Mowers from Sioux Falls for $20,301.
Council. Motion and second to approve the resolution authorizing the purchase of a mower deck for the street department. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries. Item G, declaring 1 car, 1 pickup, 1 utility van, 1 SUV, and 3 pieces of equipment surplus. Again, Jose.
Thank you. In 2016, the City Council budgeted for the purchase of several pieces of equipment during 2017. After all of these pieces of equipment are purchased, they will be replacing the current equipment. At this point, staff is asking council to declare the list of equipment to be replaced as surplus so that it may be sold in the future. The equipment to be surplus are a 2014 Chevy Tahoe used by the police department, a 2002 Ford Taurus used by the airport, a 2000 Ford F-150 used by the street department, a 2002 Chevy G3500, which is the utility van that's used by the Light and Power, a 2005 Toro 3280D. There's 2 of those. Both of those are used by Parks and Rec, and a 2006 Toro 4000D used by Parks and Rec as well. In addition to that, staff would like the City Council to declare or to have the surplus property appraisal committee convene at a later time to declare or to appraise the Parks and Rec Department 2006 Toro 4000D mower. Staff recommends appraising that mower at $9,400. Staff will be trading in the mower during the purchase of the new Toro Groundsmaster 4000D for the golf course. Midwest Turf and Irrigation of Omaha, Nebraska has offered $8,500 for the 2006 Toro 4000D mower. At a later meeting, staff will again ask the surplus property appraisal committee to meet and appraise the other items that are not being appraised at this time. Sales proceeds from the equipment will go to the equipment replacement fund. With all that being said, administration recommends declaring the above listed vehicles equipment surplus and moving forward with appraisal of the appraisal by the surplus property committee for the mower.
Just one question that I have is the trade-in, the value of $8,500 meets our 90%?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, thank you. Council? Motion and a second. Thanks. They'd like to sit here. Motion and a second to declare 1 car, 1 pickup, 1 utility van, 1 SUV, and 3 pieces of equipment as surplus. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jose. Item H, resolution accepting landfill dozer grant and authorizing signature. Bob, please.
Thank you. In September of 2016, the City Council adopted a resolution authorizing an application to the Department of Environmental and Natural Resources for a grant loan fund package to replace the landfill dozer. To fund the new dozer, the application sought $150,000 in grant funds and $150,000 in loan and $200,000 of local funding from the joint powers. The application was submitted and considered by the board in January. DENR awarded Vermillion up to a $150,000 grant not to exceed 30% of the purchase price. Other new business agendas items will address the loan award from DENR for the landfill purchase. The grant award letter specifies items that the city needs to complete before the grant funds could be utilized. One item was that the City Council adopt a resolution authorizing the execution of the grant agreement. Authorization, the completion of the grant document, in fact, accepting the grant. The second item to complete is authorizing a signature to process the requested grant funds. The city manager is proposed as the authorized signature. A couple other items also requested in the grant award letter was a copy of the minutes and the city attorney certification opinion letter. This resolution will allow the city to access up to $150,000 of grant funding to help offset the purchase of this new landfill dozer. The administration recommends approval of the resolution to approve the acceptance of the grant and the drawdown of grant funds.
Thank you, Bob. Have we got the parts that you need, like the attorney's opinion and all that?
What was that?
The part where you said that city attorney certification opinion letter, do we have that, or is that something that...
Jim brought it tonight.
Yeah.
Okay, so
You'll have it.
We have all the ducks. Okay. Comments or questions for Bob? Tom?
If there are no questions, given that we do have certification of the city attorney, I move approval of the resolution to access up to the grant funds and authorize the city manager to proceed with the paperwork and cycles.
A motion and a second to approve the resolution accepting landfill dozer grant and authorizing signature. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries. Item I, Seventh Amendment to the Joint Powers Agreement. Again, Bob, please.
When we get these grant loans, we have to usually amend our agreement, and this is what this one will be doing. The cities of Vermillion and Yankton, as well as the counties of Clay and Yankton, entered into a joint agreement in 1994. The operating agreement has had 7 amendments over this time. And the members of the joint powers are Vermillion City Council member, Vermillion residents, Clay County Commissioner, a Clay County resident, and the Vermillion City Manager. The Yankton City has the Yankton City Commissioner, the Yankton resident, a Yankton County Commissioner, a Yankton County resident, and the Yankton City Manager. The Vermillion and Yankton Finance Officer serve as the Secretary of Financial Advisors for the board. The purpose of this agreement was to establish a system to jointly operate a solid waste disposal and recycling system. There are currently 3 main facilities for the joint powers operation. A transfer station in Yankton that collects the trash from Yankton City collection, and private haulers for the transportation to the landfill. Recyclables are also collected at the Yankton transfer station. Most recyclables are currently transferred to the Vermillion for processing. The landfill and the Vermillion Recycling Center are also part of the joint power operation. Included in the 2017 budget for the joint power landfill was the replacement of a 2010 dozer. The City Council approved the application for a grant loan through the South Dakota Board of Water and Natural Resources to assist with the purchase. The Board of Water and Natural Resources approved $150,000 the grant and a $150,000 loan to assist the purchase. The Board of Water and Natural Resources asked for the 4 parties of the Joint Powers Agreement to adopt an amendment to this agreement. The copy of the amendment is attached. The main point of the amendment is to stipulate that the Joint Powers Agreement will not be dissolved prior to repayment of all outstanding loans. And each one of the loans that the City of Vermillion and City of Yankton have gotten are on this application, which will include the 2017 SWMP loan. Some of the other amendments to the original agreement also have been due to the grant loan financing package. The agreement obligates the city to participate in the joint powers agreement through the end of repayment of the outstanding loan. The loan for the dozer will be 7 years, but the SRF loan for cell 5 and the leachate pond will not be repaid until 2035. So the administration recommends approval of the 7th Amendment to the Joint Powers Agreement.
Thank you, Bob. Questions, comments from council?
Second.
Motion is second to approve the 7th Amendment to the Joint Powers Agreement. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries. Thanks, Bob. Item J, resolution approving the issuance and sale of a revenue bond to finance the purchase of a new dozer for the Solid Waste Department via Revenue Bond and Solid Waste Management Program loan through the South Dakota Board of Water and Natural Resources. Again, Bob, please.
As noted earlier on the agenda, the City of Vermillion was awarded the Solid Waste Management Program Regional Landfill System Grant Loan and Package. Estimated cost being around $500,000 with a $150,000 grant, $150,000 loan, and $200 of the Joint Power Reserve. This new piece of equipment will be purchased using the South Dakota Board of Water and Natural Resource Solid Waste Management Program loan and the assistance of the utility revenue bonds. The city plans to finance up to $150,000 of the cost for the purchase of the new dozer to use at Vermillion's jointly owned solid waste facilities through these revenue bonds and through other funds secured by the city. A solid waste management program loan agreement between the City of Vermillion and the South Dakota Board of Natural Resources has been drafted and is attached. With the City Council's authorization, the city may purchase one dozer with a AccuGrade GPS to replace the existing dozer fund through the grant loan of $300,000 and the Joint Power Reserve of $200,000. This new piece of equipment will provide a greater efficiency and expanded abilities for an in-house operation at the regional landfill. The purchase of the one new dozer will replace the existing dozer and finance with a $150,000 grant, a $150,000 loan, and $200,000 of Joint Powers Reserve. Administration recommends approval of the resolution approving the assistance of the sale of the revenue bond to finance the purchase of a new dozer for the solid waste department through a revenue bond and solid waste management program loan through the South Dakota Board of Water and Natural Resources.
Thank you, Bob. Council? Mike, is this a big enough loan that you go out, or can we do that internally?
You mean go out or?
Do you go out to the market for a bond of that size?
No, this size would be a 7-year loan. I think it was at 2.25% from the Board of Water and Natural Resources through a solid waste program loan. So
okay.
The rate, term, and interest rates all set by them.
Okay. Tom, please.
And a copy of this loan would be on file in your office for public viewing.
Yep.
Thank you.
Motion and second to approve the resolution. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bob. Item K, Street Department Tractor Lease with Fred Haar Company. Jose's back.
Right. Okay. The city has been approached again by the Fred Haar Company, John Deere dealership in Yankton, about leasing a tractor to the city for approximately 7 months. John Deere has a governmental lease program that will lease tractors to government agencies for up to 7 months or 250 hours. The city would lease one tractor at this time from Fred Haar Company that would be used by the street department in some of their operations. Unlike previous years, the city would be responsible for paying $10 per hour for the first 250 hours or $2,500 for the duration of the lease. Additionally, the city would also be responsible to pay for the insurance, obviously, and for any routine maintenance required on the piece of equipment. The cost of the insurance has been estimated at $200. Administration recommends authorizing the city manager to enter into a lease agreement with Fred Haar Company for the lease of a John Deere tractor for 7 months or 250 hours for a cost of $10 per hour for the first 250 hours.
Thank you, Jose. Council? Motion and second to approve the Street Department Tractor Lease with Fred Haar Company. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries. Thank you. Item L, resolution amending resolution authorizing the purchase of a golf course mower. Jose?
On January 16th of this year, the City Council approved a resolution allowing staff to purchase a 2017 Toro Groundmaster 4000D from Midwest Turf and Irrigation for $61,186. The existing golf course mower would be moved after the purchase and the delivery of the equipment to the Parks Department, where it would then replace one of their large mowers. The existing Parks Department mower was planned to be sold by sealed bids. It was estimated that the mower would have brought about $8,000. Administration discussed the sale of the existing Parks Department mower with the dealer selling us a 2017 golf course mower. The dealer mentioned that they would be willing to take the old mower as a trade-in as part of the purchase of the new golf course mower. The dealer is willing to deduct $8,500 from the price of the new 2017 mower with a trade-in of the 2006 mower. The proposed resolution would amend the resolution approved on January 16, 2017 to allow for a trade-in of the 2006 Toro Groundmaster 4000D mower, which is from the Parks Department. The 2017 Equipment Replacement Fund included a budget of $66,579 for this item. The amendment would reduce the price of the purchase from $61,186 to $52,686. With all that being said, administration recommends approving the resolution, amending the resolution to purchase a 2017 Toro Groundmaster 4000D mower from the Toro Company's participating distributor, Midwest Turf and Irrigation, for the NJPA contract price of $61,186, less the $8,500 trade-in of the 2006 Toro Groundmaster 4000D mower.
Thanks, Jose. After all that, Council?
I just have a question. Is this the same mower that had an appraised value of $9,400?
Yes, we have to have, it's 90%.
Yeah.
So yeah, $9,400, 90% of that would be a little bit less than $8,500.
Yeah, okay. Same mower.
Same mower.
Thank you.
Yep.
Other comments or questions?
Move approval of the resolution, amending the resolution.
We have a motion and a second to approve the resolution, amending the resolution, authorizing the purchase of a golf course mower. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries. Under new business, item A, bid opening for janitorial services for City of Vermillion facilities. Jose, please.
Thanks. City's janitorial staff for a while has been comprised of one supervisor, one full-time employee, and one part-time employee. On November 2016, the supervisor retired. Since his retirement, the city has been unable to fill the vacant position. The lack of a third employee has put a strain on the remaining staff and also on other city employees. Due to this the city is considering contracting with a cleaning service contractor to maintain the janitorial needs of each city building. State Statute 5-18A-14 requires that a contracts for service that are $25,000 or more be bid. The city requested bids from 3 remaining services and published as required the notice in the local newspaper. The city received 4 bids. They range from $60,228 to $116,700. The low bid was from Service Masters of Southeast South Dakota of Yankton. The 2017 budget will have to be revised to include the services being provided. Staff will present the revision to council during the budget sessions later this year. Administration recommends us accepting the low bid of $60,228 from Service Masters of Southeastern South Dakota and to allow the city manager to enter into contract with the low bidder.
Thanks, Jose. The retaining one full-time employee, is that at their expense or is that at our expense?
That's going to be our employees. So we have a combination of one employee, and then he'll clean City Hall and the water treatment plant, and then the rest of the buildings will be contracted.
Okay. But is he working under them or is he working under you?
He'll remain a city employee.
Okay, thank you.
Quick question, is this, were there, of the 4 bids, were any from Vermillion?
Yes, we have one bidder from Vermillion. It's listed on the bid tabulation that's attached. That was.
Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot to turn the page over.
Yep, flip the page.
My mistake, thank you.
Certainly.
So we're keeping of the one supervisor, one full-time employee, and one part-time employee.
We're keeping the full-time employee.
And supervisor?
No, the supervisor, we weren't able to replace him, so.
When, I guess I'll say November 1st last year, we had 2.5 employees. One in the full-time was the supervisor who retired. The other full-time was the person, Ron, who works here in City Hall and some other buildings, and then we had a part-time. So with this change, the full-time supervisor position is left. We will just have the one full-time person who cleans here in City Hall, and the part-time employee is actually been contacting some of these companies. I think he may go there. But we offered and talked with him about the full-time position, but he wasn't interested in working full-time for us.
There might be some opportunity with
Comments or questions, others? Did you say something?
Second.
Motion and second to take the low bid for janitorial services for City of Vermillion facilities. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Bid opening B, fuel quotes. Mike, pass those out.
Should be a bid tab in front of each. First from Stern Oil for unleaded gasoline, $1.97.59 cents per gallon. Item 2 is number 1 and number 2 diesel fuel dyed, a blended cost. The average is $1.91.33 cents per gallon. And bid item number 3 is number 1 and number 2 diesel fuel clear. The blended cost is $2.20.98 cents per gallon. The second quote was received from Brunick Service on item 1, $2.04. Item 2, $1.92. Item 3, $2.27. Stern Oil would be low on all 3.
Council?
Move approval of the low bid.
Motion and second to approve the low bid to Stern Oil. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. City Manager report, John.
Thank you. Just a reminder, next Monday night, February 13th, there'll be a special city council meeting. It is at 5:30 p.m. and it'll be at the fire station at 820 North Dakota Street. The purpose of the meeting is to hear the fire department's annual report, visit with the volunteers, and also tours of the station will be available for the council and the public. But that special city council meeting again next Monday the 13th at 5:30 p.m. The next regular City Council meeting will be on Tuesday, February 21st, and that's due to the President's Day holiday on Monday, February 20th. Included with your packet were 2 raffle notifications, both from the same group. The American Indian Science and Engineering Society, they will be selling $1 tickets. They began February 1st to April 7th of this year. The drawing will take place during the USD powwow on April 7th, 2017. The prize is a Stark quilt valued at $200, and proceeds from the raffle will be used to support student funding for their conference trip to Denver in November of this year. The American Indian Science and Engineering Society also submitted a raffle notification. They will be selling $1 tickets on April 7th. It is a 50-50 drawing that is part of the USD powwow on that date. Proceeds from the 50-50 raffle will also be used to support funding for their conference trip to Denver in November of 2017. And then just the naming ideas for the new pool at Prentice Park, they were accepted through today, and we hope to have the final 4 names available next week so they can present those to the community for the voting process.
Thank you, John. Any comments or questions from anyone for John? If not, then invoices payable. Any comments or questions for Mike? Maybe John, you or Mike could answer number 101, the SPP filing cost. Do we know anything yet on what's going to be approved there for us?
Yes and no. And I apologize. I just got the notice last week. I should have let you know that. That is the bill for them to go through the process.
Oh, okay.
And so they did file it, and they were sending it to a settlement hearing conference. That there were some utilities who filed comments on it. And so that'll be going to a settlement hearing conference to be scheduled with the administrative law judge involving FERC and then the representatives for the city. So what will happen is February 1st, we did become eligible for the ATRR payments. We won't actually, by the time the money reaches us, will be probably late April. Those payments will be made to us subject to refund pending the completion of the hearing.
Thank you.
Just out of curiosity, and this is kind of routine, I guess, but is there a specific project that Banner and Number 4 provided professional services for?
That'd be the lift station over on Prentice Street.
Prentice?
They've been finalizing the plans to get ready for bidding on that project, so that's,
And generally, when these show up as professional services on our list, is it usually one particular project, or is it maybe a combination? In other words, if it's just for one thing, I'd like to see just one word on there of what it's for, and then don't have to ask every time.
well, sometimes too, the staff, if they've got a question or ask the engineer for research on something, if there's a issue with one of the plants or whatever, and so Banner is looking into that. Part of this might be a small invoice
Okay, so
for professional services as requested, or an issue with calibration or something that they're working on.
and that's not just Banner, but I was thinking about other professional services. And
Like the electric one, DGR would be working on the substation, but they also help with other issues that they're looking for with the electric system. If there's something they're looking about switching circuits or doing something with, they may run a simulation and come back with a fee for doing that, so.
thank you.
Okay, we have no consensus agenda, Steve.
Should I move we pay our bills?
Oh. Okay, a motion and a second to pay our bills. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion and a second to adjourn. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Got more yeses that time.